Welcome to another episode of Project Grownup. This is a weekly podcast about conquering the phenomenon known as adulthood through hard work, discussion, and most importantly, a lot of laughs. We hope you'll be part of this project. I'm Alex, here with my co-hosts Danielle.
Hey.
And Amy.
Hey, girl, hey.
Today on Project Grownup, we are super excited to interview Krish. He is an independent hip-hop artist based out of Texas. Krish, do you want to give us a little background story? Tell us what you got going on?
Hey guys, I'm Krish. I'm based out of Austin, Texas, and I'm mainly and primarily focused on hip-hop and R&B music. I grew up in Michigan and I went to the University of Michigan, sort of an unorthodox entry into music. I majored in neuroscience and did business as well. When I moved out to Texas, I originally got like a normal job and stuff like that. But as almost instantly, I started doing music and started learning how to make my own music and producing and stuff like that. And that's sort of gotten me to this point. I started late 2017. And as of now, it's been almost 3 years since I've actually started to go hard on it. Yeah, my album dropping September 7th.
So, Krish, what was the moment for you okay, I want to start a rapping career? Was there anything that did a light bulb go off?
Hip-hop, not rap.
Sorry,
I
don't know the difference.
There's a good blend of everything, of hip-hop, R&B, and rap in all my music. So what really was the defining point was I've always done music since I was little, since whether it was playing the piano, I played the piano, violin, and guitar when I was younger. And I always sang just because my parents put me in these Indian classical song classes. So when I was 8 years old, I was doing shows in front of a couple thousand people where it was just me singing Indian Carnatic music. So that all led up to me graduating from college and realizing don't want to go to med school. I did everything for that. I don't want to go to business school. I did everything for that, as in the testing and shit like that. I just didn't apply because that's not what I wanted to do. I was just sort of an introspective moment. And I always knew that I loved music, and I just started learning from, I guess, that day of just what do I really want to do and how am I going to go about it? So I started to learn how to mix, master, songwrite, engineer, all my shit. I learned how to produce, and then, yeah, sort of led me to this point.
First, I want to give you props for that neuroscience degree, though. I tried that, and let me tell you, it did not work. First semester, I was like, biology, science? Dang, I didn't know how to know all that.
Trust me, I didn't like it, but I did it.
So you said you were doing music, as a kid. Were your friends and family supporting you the whole time when you first decided, hey, I'm going to pursue music instead of going into this, medical life? Or was there a little bit of backlash all right, Krish, what you doing over there?
Yeah, there's definitely backlash. But the good thing is that the balance between me having a normal 9-to-5 job and doing music on nightly basis sort of appeased them to a point. But definitely had a lot of backlash because I'm Indian descent, so my parents are super doctor, lawyer, engineer, that or bust. And honestly, for them, it was either doctor or that's it. And I didn't choose that route, and still to this day, until I get to a point where I'm charting, where I'm making a decent income, as in I'm established in the game, they're still questioning, just because they're immigrant parents. I feel like every immigrant family has that.
You seem like you have a pretty big following for somebody who's just starting out 3 years into the game. I mean, what has it sort of been like over the last 3 years to watch your growth and to have your following go from zero to, what it is now? I mean, that can't be easy.
It still isn't, and it wasn't. A lot of it has to do with me just putting my head down and going. A lot of it, there's a lot of failures. I trusted so many different people to market my music, didn't work out. Trusted so many different things, as in creatively, as in other people mixing and mastering my music, stuff like that. What really helped in this growth was me figuring out how to utilize my brand, push it forward to people that were most likely to pick it up instantly, whether that be through influencer marketing, whether that be through Facebook, Instagram ads, whether that be through just word of mouth. A lot of it is just utilizing what you know about yourself and pushing that forward and not thinking about the results, because trust me, I was putting my music video on YouTube sites that were just destroying me. And obviously, like, you see the comment, especially with music, right? If music isn't good, people are going to let you know. So, and when I was first starting off, my music was definitely not the hottest, but it's sort of that perseverance of like, hey, I got to this point. This is how much I've improved. And I always thought like, this shit is fire. Like,
Yeah.
always, like, regardless of what people were, and a lot of it's like motivational too, because you know people are hating on you behind your back. But that's only because you see something that they don't. But then once they see it, they're gonna be like, all right, like, damn, he's actually doing something, you know?
So when it comes to actually writing a song, that sounds like the most complicated thing in the world. I'm gonna be real.
And
How
you do
do
your
you-
own beats, right?
Yeah, how do you get
Yeah.
inspired for that? Like, do you emulate any of the rappers or hip hop artists that you have always looked up to, or have you sort of created your own voice?
So definitely, I feel like every music artist has their influences, and mine particularly are like The Weeknd, Frank Ocean, Miguel, Russ recently, Drake, obviously. Like those, there's a lot of different combinations of individuals that I just love music in, and I've seen their come ups, and I'm like, yo, I can do that too. And the songwriting process, a lot of it's just sometimes you're genuinely inspired, as in like you had a life experience. And mine is I create the beat always first, and the beat tells me what to write. I've tried just personally, tried writing everything prior, but the most genuine lyrics and the best results that I've seen have come from songs that I've sort of just initially just freestyled on and picked the best parts, and then just sort of pick flows, pick different like inflections of my voice that I've used, and just write around that. So a lot of it's just around the beats that I create. And I do sometimes, like, I have one of the other people that I work with, his name is Jassel. He makes some of my beats, and I just choose the beat and then write from there.
Do you freestyle at all, or do you like listen to it a couple of times and then you start putting lyrics together?
So I guess the beauty of it is the fact that I do record myself, and there really isn't. So whenever an artist tries to make it or tries to make their own song, they have to purchase like studio time and do all that stuff, and you have a limited amount of time, so you have to go in there knowing what you got to do. But for me, it's more of I can sit on a beat and freestyle on it and choose the best parts. Like on some songs, like some of my biggest songs, I've had like 60 takes of like certain parts, even more honestly on certain verses, and just chosen the best parts.
Do you record at your house? Like, what does your studio setup look like? And do you
Yeah.
have any special rituals to get you into that zone?
Like you gotta have that Red Bull, or you gotta have those Cheetos on the side, anything like that?
Maybe
Definitely.
a shot.
Maybe a shot or a beer.
Yeah.
I mean,
Relax
definitely.
the
So
mind.
like when I first started off, it was a basic like $200 mic. You have to buy an interface. Everything is just based in a soundproof room. My studio right now is based out of my actual room. So I have my desk set up. It's like big enough for me to set up 2 big speakers in, a sub, and just all my certain equipment. And it's soundproofed just enough so that just like studio quality when I end up recording on it.
Yeah,
It just doesn't have that aesthetic.
I can't tell listening to your music or your YouTube videos that you record at home.
Mhm.
Not at all.
It's really great.
Yeah, and that's with a lot of artists nowadays, just because everyone has their portable studio. If you have the right like industry standard equipment, even not even that expensive, you can go like half of what they spent. Like, for example, a whole setup will cost you like $2+ grand, $3 grand, $4 grand, including the computer. But you can have that and still make some of the dopest music. I guess like my go-to drink is I usually have yerba mate. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, that's always what I usually have. I used to go with coffee a lot. I didn't drink for a whole year, and I sort of like I made some really dope music and really good strides then, but now I'm starting to drink more as I make music just because why not?
You gotta stay up late. The mate is actually great because it doesn't make you like jittery like coffee does. It's like a cleaner, energetic feeling. It's a tea for people who haven't had it before.
I was about to say, what is
Same.
mate?
Mate is
I've heard
a
of matcha.
mate is a
Mate is-
tea from South America.
Yeah, it's basically like a cup of coffee, but exactly that. Doesn't give you the jitters. I usually try to stop by, and that's the thing, I really don't sleep too much, and that's not a good thing, but I usually stop drinking those at like 11:30 just to save myself from,
Oh, jeez.
yeah.
So we're talking about getting your setup right. Let's talk about your Zen real quick. Do you have to be in the right mind, like headspace, to be able to record, or does like a bad day get you even more hyped to go in the studio?
There's definitely ups and downs. Like For example, some weeks I can bang out like 4 songs. Some weeks I don't do anything. It really just depends on, I guess, mental health is such a big thing in music too, because one, you have to write about it. One, you have to expose yourself to other people, but at the same time, you have to get up and do that and have the motivation to do it regardless of your mindset. That combination is tough, but that's more of looking at your long-term goals and just being like, yo, I got to do this. And I see the results that I've gotten so far. Why stop now? And just get yourself up.
So have you always had that mentality, or do you ever have those moments where it's like you really have to remind yourself to stay motivated? Music seems like something that is a little bit harder to pursue versus some other careers.
I have not always had that mentality. What I've done is I've looked at a lot of like self-help books, a lot of like different artists that have just promoted self-motivation, like self-ownership of their stuff. And I was just looking at one of these motivational videos with Kobe and like all these different athletes and artists, because they're all primarily in the same lane, as in it's so super competitive, but you gotta keep going, and that hard work, you can't substitute it for anything. Especially even if I've always been talented. I don't know if that's cocky to say, but always been talented in singing, just because I grew up in it. My parents primed me for that ever since I was little. And there's some times where I'm like, I don't have to work as hard to make a dope song as other people, but then that's also detrimental at the same time. I have to remind myself of that.
What is your proudest song so far? Is there one that you're like, yeah, this is the most dope one I've done?
It's a banger.
I think the interest and like the response from the audience, definitely You the One. You don't wanna love me and sing crazy, nah, 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 nah. Trust me. Just because that's still getting me like a ton of recognition as a music artist, and that's like all across the world, and people are comparing me to different artists that have sort of come up. Like I just got compared to a BTS song. And it's like, all right, like I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, and like that's the song I would say is the most recognizable for Krish so far.
Which one's the closest to your heart that you're like, I did that?
That's a tough one. I would have to say, I'm going to say Loving You, just because that all came together and started blowing up on SoundCloud randomly. You got me loving you, yeah, baby, I'm just trusting you. I always knew that song was fire, just didn't get the recognition at first, but then it started gaining momentum and gaining plays and gaining momentum on Spotify. So like seeing that result really is motivational then. And obviously that song I always loved it the most.
Where'd you find the inspiration to write that one?
Just a beat. Like obviously there's like a lot of it is me seeing my personal relationships and stuff like that. A lot of it is putting yourself in the mindset of sort of looking into a movie and making a song for that scene. You know what I'm saying? It's more of choosing how to put where your mindset is, and sometimes you substitute yourself for someone else. But a lot of the times I make these songs thinking of myself in front of, like I consciously do this. When I'm recording a verse or a hook or whatever, I stand record, but then I close my eyes and like imagine myself singing this out loud to a crowd that's singing it back to me word for word. And like a huge crowd. So it's like a stadium. So that's what sort of gets me motivated while I'm recording.
I love that visualization. That's something we've talked about in other episodes, visualizing success and where you want to be. What do you hope your music will amount to, and what are you trying to add to the world through your songs?
I want to be, and I say this to myself a lot, I like doing affirmations just because it gives me it makes me work harder. But I want and will be one of the biggest artists in the United States and the world. That's my end goal. Whether that be, you never know how fast you're going to blow up. You could blow up in a year, you could blow up in 2, you could blow up in 8. But the thing is, the people that always do are the ones that kept working. And when you have the talent and the execution and the team to do so, that's my end goal. A lot of it, including the lyrics, obviously, whether that be a love song or just like a pregame song, whatever, that's that's definitely it. But I guess my focus would mainly be just the message, especially since I'm a kid of an immigrant. I'm not supposed to be making music in their eyes, and this isn't why they quote unquote moved here. You know what I'm saying? So just putting, because there's so many kids like that here, and the fact that they don't have to get siloed into a certain thing and make themselves like only become a doctor because their parents said so, and then they just hate their shit, they hate their life. Like, fuck that. No.
We actually had an episode about that where we discussed how people of certain cultures, kids are taught that they have to do what their parents tell them to do, and how it's so hard to pursue your dreams over what you're supposed to be doing. But in the end, like, it's your happiness that's worth it at the end of the day. So yeah, no, I love that you persevered through that, and that you're still like, look, y'all, I got this 9 to 5. I'm doing what y'all need me to do, but on the side, I'm doing what I need to do for myself.
Yeah. And a lot of it is like the 9 to 5 is cool, and that's what makes them happy. But also at the same time, it's like showing them that, yo, these are my moves, like giving them full transparency as to what I'm doing whenever they ask, because that's a lot of the struggle between, I guess, kids and their parents. Is just, if the parents don't know what their kids are doing and they're just saying they're doing something, it doesn't give them the reassurances as to like not have to worry about their kid, you know?
Have your parents actually come around and said, wow, that was a really cool video, or I can't believe you were able to pull that off? Like, have they said anything like that to you yet? I hope so.
My mom, actually, my most recent song I just released, she just said it was a dope song. Not in those words, but you know what I'm saying? So, like, they do say they like song, but this is the first song that they were like, wow, I like it. Like, you know? So it's been a long time coming, and they still haven't come around 100%. But I guess it comes with doing anything that's unorthodox, right? You can't expect things to go right from day one to, like, honestly, day 10,000. Like, you don't know when it's going to go right, but you just got to keep working as if tomorrow will.
I see you're wearing your streetwear. So how'd you decide to start designing that and getting into that as well?
I guess that comes with the revenue streams of all artists. So whether that be through merchandise, tours, their catalog of music that they earn streaming revenue from. But I've always wanted to create something, as in a classic line is a KR classic line, that's what I called it, as something that people would just wear just to wear, not like a very obscure, like, obviously you can create a very obscure t-shirt or something that is very directed towards someone, but I wanted to make something that people would just wear out, you know? And it sort of impersonates my music in a way, just because it caters to a lot of people. There isn't really a certain niche that it caters to, but people can take, like, that's the strength of a catalog, right? I have like 40 songs out right now, and someone's gonna like one, like they're gonna find something that they like. And I just wanted to create something that my fans could wear and show me or pull up in when I come tour in their city for the first time.
I was looking through your Instagram, and I was wondering if you've always been that photogenic, or if it's just because you're repping your own brand and you're like, I see you.
I'm crying. I don't know. I think it's just, thank you first. But I mean, I honestly don't think I'm that photogenic, but I'll take it.
It's the confidence of wearing your own brand. You're like, look at this.
It actually, yes, like that's huge, honestly.
Can we talk about your music videos? So I've watched several of them on YouTube, and like Amy said, being so photogenic. What is that like, being in a music video that seems so glamorous? And what's the work that goes in behind it? What's it like? What's the experience?
Yeah.
How do you pull that off?
I don't know. I guess you just got to put yourself out there, right? And it's sort of something that you have to do as an artist, but having a dope music video, when you see people have dope music videos, you're like, fuck, I want one too. Like,
yep.
And then from there, you learn how to be in front of a camera, and you know that things are going to get edited out. So you don't really stress out about all the small things, but you get the good shots that you just be as comfortable as possible, because it's your music. You're in full control of what's going to show up. And for 2 of my music videos, I went out to Vegas, with my homie Krish, and we just rented out cars and just fucked around all weekend and just had a camera with us. So that's like what's really cool about music videos is, sure, you can plan out everything and do everything to the T, but it's not always like that. Some of the dopest music videos are just impromptu.
How long does it take? Can I ask? Like, is it like you got the car for 8 hours? You got to get the shoot done. Does it roll? Does it depend on who you're working with? Like, what's the timeline look like?
Definitely, like for renting out cars and shit, there's like we have like 24 hours with it. So that's in retrospect like tough to work around, but shooting, it doesn't take that much time at all. It's more of like the editing process that really goes into how you want the music video to turn out. Obviously for the lighting, whether that be your personal lighting or like what is it, golden hour, or the actual LED lights that you get, that makes a big difference in editing too. But I guess like it would take a cumulative hour and a half, 2 hours to really shoot everything, and a lot of that is just going in between places, and they do the full song every time, and then they put them all in one on Final Cut, whatever they use, and then they choose and pick whichever ones they want to do, right? So you do the full song like 5 times, and then you're like, all right, like you're gonna find something dope from there, and then we move on.
Something's got to work in there. So do you record it and then lay that over to match up with what you're saying in the music video? Does that make sense?
Yeah, we usually just have like a Bluetooth speaker that's playing the music out loud, and I sing along to it, and then they match it up at the end when I send them the WAV or MP3 file.
Okay, cool. I've always wondered how that's done.
Do people ever walk by and they're like, what are you doing?
Always. Like when I was in Vegas, there's like people from Germany came up to me and like try to get a picture with me, which was hilarious because that was a year ago, and I wasn't even close to how, I guess a lot of the growth that I've seen right now is within the last year, because that's when all my music started gelling, like the mixing and mastering and everything just became to a personal, like professional level that people are like, yo, this is an artist we should check out. And then the music videos, you just got to get over yourself and just be cocky out your fucking head and just go at it, because you're gonna have to get it anyway, so fuck it. Who cares what other people think?
I have to ask, you're kind of starting out, but you've obviously developed these followers who are sticking with you, these fans. But what would you tell to somebody who wants to do the same thing as you, who has to totally start from scratch, and they're like, I just don't know how to do it, and they are kind of struggling right now?
The biggest thing I would have to say is just learning by trial and error. You got to put yourself out there and release that first song. Like, fuck it, just do it, because nobody's gonna care after the first week of you releasing it if it's trash. If it's good, people are gonna be like, yo, what, let's check this guy out, and you're gonna keep moving forward. But even if it is trash, keep going, because my first song was trash, but I kept going. And that's just how it is with everything in life. You can't, because you're gonna fail. Like, that's just part of life, and you just gotta chalk it up to being like, this is just one of the 10,000 times I got it wrong until I get it right.
They say that the first draft is always crap for a reason, right? So
yeah, it's a 10,000 hour rule. Like, you're not really good at anything until you've truly dedicated yourself for 10,000 hours, and then you'll sort of see like the fruits of your labor, in my opinion. And that's like a rule that everyone relates to in music. Yeah, I don't know who made it, but it's just a rule.
Yeah, I've heard that. It's like anything though, like language or becoming I don't know what word I'm looking for.
Like a martial arts fighter, anything like.
Yeah, becoming great
Bruce
in whatever
Lee,
you do.
And that's why it's so like relatable when you see motivational videos or interviews from people who are in MMA or people who are in music, people who are actors. You can relate to it, because at the end of the day, it's really just a mindset of, yes, I'm going to do this right now, and I don't care if people are trying to ask me to go out. I don't care if people are trying to make me do X, Y, and Z. Like, I'm going to do what I want to do, because in 5 years, I'm going to be somewhere that they wish that they were. Like, as it's fucked up to say like that, but it kind of isn't, because that's how it is,
Yeah, exactly. You have to put that work in if you want to go anywhere.
On a side note, are you into Gary Vee at all?
I respect him.
Motivational wise, but no, he's not your cup of tea. That's okay.
That sounds like no.
Not mine either. It's cool.
any Tim Ferriss?
I've heard of that name.
He does he does a lot of like motivational stuff. He's super successful, but he interviews like a lot of different successful people and stuff like that. But I was just checking. I was just giving recommendations.
There's this guy named Jim Quick. I don't know if you know who he is. Jim Quick. It's Kwik. It's KWIK, and he actually has really good mental awareness and mental strength types of books, podcasts, stuff like that. And it's really crazy just because he's worked with a lot of like people that like Elon Musk, Gerard Butler, trying to think of other people, but there's a ton of different people that are in, I guess mine is just the entertainment space as to how they approach their mental state and how they persevere through certain bullshit scenarios.
So you talking about all these big people has sort of inspired me to ask this. If you could rap with any artist, yeah, you knew this was coming, who would it be?
It would have to be Drake. I guess that would have to be it. Actually, that's a tough one because dead or alive.
That's good
You
too.
get one
I
of
guess
each,
you
one
get
of
one
each.
for each.
I'm thinking.
You prompted that question.
Right?
Yeah. Stumped yourself.
It's gonna be a weird answer, but it would be Freddie Mercury, just because Freddie Mercury's like I found motivation through him just because he's Indian or Indian Persian, sort of a mix. Him making it music is it's like a mark in the sand of like in the 70s he really came out and did his thing, and he was a brown dude, and that's it. It's just relatable as a brown dude. And I guess alive it would be between three-way tie: Frank Ocean, Weeknd, and Drake. One of those three. If I could get in the studio with them, I would.
Well, you could just be like DJ Khaled and get everybody together.
Right, yes.
I mean,
and make another one.
Yeah.
Oh, Danielle. Sorry. I
No.
had to. You gotta say a saying if you're gonna say DJ Khaled. So.
Yeah.
All right, Krish, you've given us some great insights. We're so lucky to have you on the show, man. We want to give you a good 30 to 60 seconds to just plug yourself. Let us know what you got going on, where everybody can find you on social media. What's up?
I have my debut album's releasing September 7th. It's my birthday. I'm turning 25, so I just wanted to put that all together. I don't have a name yet. I'm still working on that. Overall, that's going to be a really good project that I'm looking forward to. And follow me on social media at Krish_records. It's on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube.
That's Krish. And you're on Spotify too, right?
Yeah, and I'm known as Krish, so you can just search Krish and you'll find me. I'm usually the first one. It's hard to become the first one for Krish because there's so many Krishes.
You're the only one that matters.
I'd like to think so.
And we'll be sure to put all of your information in the show notes so our listeners are able to find you.
So before we let you go this week, we of course want to leave you with some words to live by. This time it's from Krish himself. He said, "Talent only gets you so far. Real success takes hard work."
Join us for new episodes every week. They will drop Monday, so you can start your week off right as we unravel another chapter of Project Grownup.
Hopefully you found some keys to success in this episode. Cheers to another week of trying to be a grown-up.
Cheers, ladies.
Cheers, everyone.